Here are my lessons. The first one's a rhyming matching game, and you just drag and drop to the correct one, and if you click on the button, it'll show you the right answer, and there are sounds of the animals for all the animals on here, and then you would just continue, and each one has an answer, so you would know if you got it right. The kids can come up and drag and drop and click on the answer button to see if they're right, and then they can also hit the sound button to hear the sounds. My second lesson was a matching game, also kind of differently. It's more memory and matching, and you would flip one, it says spring, and then summer, so they didn't match. Spring, and then they'd match. Fall, fall. Winter, winter. So this one was with the seasons, so they could come up and try to match, and then you could just reset them and they would shuffle and be different places. My third lesson was for math. You would click on the dice, and whatever number it landed on, you would multiply that by 5, and so 2 times 5, and then you would check to see if you got it right, and that would be 10. And so then you just go back, and then there is a link to go to a YouTube video that has the multiples of math, so if you clicked it, it would go to YouTube, and you could watch it. It's taking a little long, but and then, so here's how I made the first one. I went and I got a background, and I did a gradient one. I picked 2 colors, and I made it vertical. And then I went and I made the title. I made the color purple using this little arrow, and I said rhyming words, and I can make that a little bit smaller and then go back. Then I took this line button and I made a line at the bottom of the page, so it would be top and bottom. And then I went back to the arrow button. I went and into the gallery over on this icon button right here, and then I found pictures by typing in the search box, and finding a picture of a bear, and then I have a frog, and finding the frog picture, which actually was one that was going to stay down. And then there was a cat. Oops. Click on pictures and drag and drop the cat. Then I found a dog. Went into pictures, dropped a dog into the document, and then I found a cake. Went to pictures again, drag and dropped, made it smaller, put it there, and then I found the matching words to each, so the frog was already there for dog, and then bear and chair. So I found a picture of a chair, made it smaller, found a picture of a mat, dropped it, and then I found a picture of a lake, and then drag and dropped. And then I went to put the text in, so I made it smaller, and I put there. And then I grouped them together by highlighting them both. And actually, I have to click the arrow button first, and then highlighting them and grouping them together. So now it's one. And then I would lock them in place so you can't move it. And then I did the same thing with all the others. So I did cat, and I grouped it and locked it in place. And then I did a dog, and back to the arrow, grouped them and locked it into place. And then one more time with chair, cake. And I'm gonna just make it smaller right away. Went to the arrow button, scooted it over a little bit, highlighted them, grouped them together, and locked them in place. And then I did the same thing for their matches at the bottom. So I did mat, rake, chair, oops, and I did dog. And then I went back to the arrow button, moved them where I wanted them, and then I grouped them together. So they're all going to be moving at the same time. That one didn't get grouped, so there you go. So now they can all move, and these ones won't be locked in place because they will be able to move to wherever the child puts them. I then went and found the answer buttons under Lesson Activity Toolkit and Tools. And I scrolled down and found the information button. So then I dragged it and dropped, and I moved it. I clicked the arrows in the right, and I was able to write the right answer, so chair. And then I could make it bigger, and I could change the font if I wanted, and I put it to the right. And I did the background color as purple and clicked OK. And then I could resize it, although I want a bigger font than that, so go all the way to 72, click OK, make it a little bit smaller, move it right under the bear. So if you were to click on it, you'd see bear and chair. So then I proceeded to do that with everyone. So there's the arrow and mat. Make it the biggest 72 size. Go to the right, found the purple background, clicked OK, resized it, and moved it under the cat. And then I did the same thing for the dog. It was dog, made it bigger, went to the right, on the back, purple color, made it smaller again, moved it over to the dog, made it even smaller, and then once more for cake and rake. Typed in rake, went to 72, went to the right, into the purple background, clicked OK, made it smaller, moved the button right by cake, and then, oops, and then I found sounds, and by going to sound or insert, by going to insert and sound, I was able to browse on the internet and find a sound, and I only found a grizzly and a green frog, so I opened up that, I attached the sound, I clicked the button to edit the text, and I put a croak, because that's what frogs sound like, and I moved it to the frog, or right by the frog, and then I was able to lock these together, or group them together, and then I did the same thing for the bear, so insert, sound, browse, grizzly, open, attach sound, and I was able to click the text button and put growl on there, and then I was able to move it and lock them into place. Well, I'd have to unlock first and then group them together and then lock into place. And then I did the same thing with a cat and a dog, except I couldn't find their sounds, so I went insert sound and I started recording, and I did the cat and dog sound myself. And so it would be like this, and you go meow, and then you could preview like this, and you go meow, and then stop this, and you go meow. Then you could attach, and then your sound would be right up here. You could go meow for a cat, go back to the arrow, put it down, lock it into place right there. And I did the same thing with the dog. And so that pretty much completes that lesson. You'd go cat, mat, rake, cake, frog, dog, chair, bear, see its chair, see its mat, see that it's rake, and frog. And you could also move this. So unlock, and then we could lock it again. And then, oops, this answer. You would be able to see the answer better. So there's that. And then we go to the next activity, which was the matching game. In this one, I found if you went into lesson activity examples, or actually, you would actually go into lesson activity toolkit and to the activities and scroll down until you found the matching pairs. I did the brown pairs, so I dragged and dropped it. And then I pressed the edit button, and I wanted to have 4 pairs for each of the seasons. I didn't want the number tiles to show, and so then I went into the gallery and I typed what seasons I wanted. So summer, found a picture, I chose the sun, I put it right there. I went winter, went to pictures, I found some sort of winter thing. There's snowflakes I'll do. And then, oops, fall. Go to pictures. I got a fall tree, so I put that, and I dragged and dropped into the pairs. And then I found spring for my last season. Okay, and then I found a picture, and I scrolled down to the spring flowers and drag and dropped into the last one. Then I went to the text button. I wrote summer, and I put it in the middle, and it just went and sized itself up. And you have to put the correct pairs together, so 1 and 1, that would be a pair. And then winter, fall, and spring. Choose the arrow, put it in the middle. Oops, I went to the wrong one. So I'll go right spring again. Put it in the middle and put the spring flowers. Oops, fall. It's fall. Find the fall picture again and drag and drop over top. And then so I have all the pairs matching together, and then I press OK. And then I can change the background. Oh wait, no, just kidding. I can write my matching pairs, and I can make it a different color by clicking the arrow, the color button, grabbing purple, and then there's purple. I can make it smaller, and then I can write something else by making it smaller. Purple. We'll actually keep this one as black, and then you can make it even smaller actually. You can say match the seasons together, period, or whatever you want to write. And then you can choose this button and put it, make it smaller, bigger, and put it where you want it. So that completes that page. You could and then you can reset it again. So there's that page, and then our last page is the dice math. So I started with the background again, and I went into this button. I did a gradient. I did gray and white. Nothing too big. And then I went back and I typed, using the A button, dice math. And I made it a different color. I go into arrow and the color button, purple, and then I can move it with the arrow button. And I went again in here. I made it smaller because I was going to write the directions. So like 26. And I said, what did I say? Oh, click on the dice. So click on the dice and multiply the that number by 5, period. And then I could make it smaller to, oops. So 28. So we look up here. We'll do 36. No, we'll do 20. And then I can make it, with this button I can make it shorter. And then I could change the color to blue. And then click on the arrow and move that. I then went and found the dice. The dice was in Lesson Activity Toolkit. And then I went into the Lesson Activity Toolkit, into Games, and then Dice, and I drag and drop the black dice, and when you clicked it, it would roll. So then I went and I wanted to make a little table, so I dragged it to however many rows and columns I wanted, and I wanted 6, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because there's 6 numbers on the dice. And I went right here, and I could move it to where I wanted it. And then I used the text button to write numbers. So there, I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I could size them. Let's do 20, 26 for each of them. Then I had to click the arrow button, and then I went and I dragged and dropped each of them into the first column. And then I found their multiples and put those numbers in the bottom column, so I clicked text again. So 1 times 5 equals 5, 2 times 5 equals 10, 3 times 5 equals 15. 4 times 5 equals 20. 5 times 5 is 25. And 6 times 5 is 30. So I sized each of these again down to different size. So 26. 26. 26, and then, whoops, click the arrow button, or actually no, actually we could, no, the arrow button, or the text button, and then 26, 26, and 26, then click the arrow button, then I put them in the right column. Oops. I'll have to fix that one. So we'll do 5 again and put that as 26. Click the arrow. I can drop that. There we go. And then I went and I clicked on the specific individual box and I put add cell shade to each of these so we could open up one at a time for whichever you would get, number you would get. So you would roll the dice, multiply that number by 5, and so 3 times 5 equals 15, and you check and see if you're right. So as soon as you come up, click the dice, say they roll 1, and then 1 times 5, and they would guess 5. Then click on it and see if they got it right. So they would do that for every number. Or we could keep going to until we get 5. If we ever get it. But otherwise we could just say 5. And then you would see if you're right. And then you could close the shades again if you wanted to start it again. So to recap, my text is the rhyming words, dog, frog, cake, chair, mat, dice math, with the text that explains, and the matching game and the text that explains what to do, and also the text on the cards. And then the pictures were the bear, cat, mat, chair, dog, cake, rake, frog, and also the pictures on here. And the dice is sort of a picture, but it's not really. And then the sounds were the growl, and then the cat meow, and the dog bark, and the croak for the frog. And then my URL was on, oh, that was one thing I forgot to add to this slide. But my URL is right here that you could click on. But to get a URL, you would go onto the internet. I went onto YouTube, found multiple of 5, and you could click whichever one you want. Say it's this one. You could copy and paste the URL, go into Notebook, and paste it into here and put it wherever you want it. You can lock it into place. And if you wanted to see it, you could just click on the internet button. It'll take you right to that video. So there's how to get your URL. So that's the URL I chose. And then the last one was whatever we wanted. And I chose the little answer buttons for each of these. And then I also chose the matching game, and I found that in the example. And then I found the dice, which was a nice different kind of tool that I used. So that was my 3 lessons, and I would use the dice one obviously in math, and the rhyming words in English and language, and the matching I would use maybe as a memory game for maybe we read a book on the seasons, and so we could do a memory game on the seasons, and so they would kind of get the picture and the word together and learn better that way. So that's how I would integrate it into my classroom, and those were my 5 features and my 3 lessons. So I hope you liked, and thank you.